Tahoe Douglas Fire Marshal Eric is here, and good to have Lisa Harron back. Harron?
It's Heron.
Heron.
It's like the bird.
I want to like take out Harron. I want to like roll some R's, but you won't let us.
You want to throw that accent in there.
Speaking of the birds, I know we're going to talk about Wildfire Awareness Week, but is there a bird festival coming up that I heard something about?
There is, yes. That's tomorrow.
Bird festival.
Yes, at the Taylor Creek Visitor Center.
And are the birds just expected to be there, or like do we bring birds there? I don't.
No, we have a bunch of activities going on to teach people about native birds in the basin.
Birds,
yeah, there's going to be a falconer there, and she'll have some live birds with her.
Yeah.
So come on out. It's free, and it should be a lot of fun.
Cool. If you like birds, come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nate loves birds.
We love birds.
It's still Wildfire Awareness Week.
Yes.
So, and I know you guys yesterday had a mock evacuation drill over there on your side of the lake, or your side of the county, state,
and it was multi-agency, so of course, if there's a fire in the basin, everybody's going to show up.
Yeah.
And so we had, obviously, Douglas County Sheriff's Department was one of the main participants because they're actually going to do the evacuation. The fire department will be engaged in fire operations. So it gets a chance for us all to get together and do what's called a unified command, where we'll set up an incident command system, and all those decisions are made together, which is a good concept to have, so that you don't have people doing different stuff.
No, and you realize when you go through those kind of mock-ups, or in our case like the Angora fire, you realize lessons learned. It's hard getting everybody,
Yeah, get them on the same page.
You got the blue suit, you got the other guy with another color, the red suit. You're like, well,
do our radios, communicate to each other? Can we get to the same dispatch center?
And
so we do these drills, and the Forest Service was involved in that as well, and it went well. It went really well. We got the word out to the citizens. They came. We had some people actually evacuate down. And
so like kind of actors, did they come and do like they did in the Angora fire and put their old crappy sofas like in the back of their car? I saw people evacuating stuff during the Angora fire going, seriously, that's what you're saving? Is that those old bar stools?
Well, that's a really good point, actually. We try to get with people, and our message is that we want them to be prepared. We want them to be able to get out and evacuate 5 minutes or less.
Know which bar stools you're going to try to
get
out of the house.
Yeah. We hope that it won't be bar stools, but that might be the most.
Whatever it is, that's the point. Like, whatever it is that you find valuable in your home.
Another man's, is another man's treasure. So yeah, but whatever it is that's of value to that person, we want them to, have a plan to save that and get out.
And you had talked a little bit yesterday. You had a good list. I mean, I know one of the things you brought up was prescription drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, for some people.
Yeah, if you're on medication, people might not think of that.
Right.
That's really important. If you take a daily medication, your glasses.
Yeah. Well, and I had said to Lisa yesterday talking about the same thing, because we're right on the same area where that Angora fire was, and we're evacuated and the whole deal. That the one thing my wife and I grabbed, aside from the obvious papers and documents, that sort of thing, birth certificate, was we grabbed like some camping gear and some climbing equipment, because we thought if the house is gone, we want to at least better still go recreate. I mean, that would
still want to be able to camp. Yeah,
well, this would have made us feel better. I mean, otherwise we'd have been sitting around. We couldn't do the things that we do.
Sure.
I mean.
Like I said, you grab what's important to you. If you have that plan, okay, we've got 5 minutes. Let's get what's important. Lot of pictures. Obviously, you said documents.
Photos,
several people, they learned the hard way on this, and the fires destroy their birth certificates, and they have to recreate their identity, basically.
Which is not bad for some people.
Yeah, So, anyways, it's maybe for some, but
think of that stuff ahead.
It's great. Grab. You can't, and it's fun for you guys, because I don't know. It seemed like fire danger is kind of low right now. Like, moderate? Is it still
moderate
today?
Still
moderate,
still moderate.
It's moderate.
So it's a good time of year to do it when you go, okay, there's a better chance that now's a good time to practice and
absolutely. You should have a plan. You need to have a plan. You get information. There's a lot of checklists out there. You can go to our website has information, the Forest Service, and just log on there, get a list. The Red Cross has a great program to get people ready.
Checklist sounds like a good
checklist.
one.
Yeah, you just go down it.
Stuff
and
you might not think of in an emergency.
So that's good. And then the big thing too is right now we're in Wildfire Awareness Week. We want people to have a consciousness about this going into the season.
Yeah.
We need them
Right.
to also not only be prepared but prevent, and so that's one of the things we want to talk about today.
Yeah,
is
fire
just
prevention.
I know the fireworks
That's
is
a big
always
thing.
one we hear about, but what's
Great
some of
point.
the other stuff? I mean, campfires.
Campfires, basically you need to know where and when you can have a campfire. So you want to educate yourself. Come to the Forest Service. We can issue you a campfire permit, and they'll give you it's free. They give you all the rules of where you can have one. And plus you want to properly build a campfire.
Right.
Only in a designated fire ring, those metal Forest Service rings, in designated campgrounds. You want to make sure that you don't leave it unattended. That's one of the biggest causes of fires here in the basin is unattended campfires.
Yeah, a lot of our issues
And
are
make sure it's out.
Started,
Yeah,
started
make sure
by
it's out.
Us, you know, I mean, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really it is. I mean, we have lightning strikes. We have fires that are started, fires naturally
Yeah.
occurring.
They
in the
do
basin.
naturally
It's
occur,
good.
yes.
And,
It's part of the forest.
It's forest health, but when they get out of control, that's the danger.
Yeah.
And mostly when they get out of control, it's man related.
Yes, unfortunately, it's most
And
of
women
the fires.
too, and women related.
yeah.
Most of
Men
the
and
fires
women,
are
we don't want-
human caused.
I thought
Yes.
you could say most fire before I actually started by man.
Men.
Women
That
start
may
them
be the
too, I'm
case,
sure.
Yeah, because you're
But-
always the man has to put the extra log on there, make it bigger.
There was a lot of lessons though. We talked about this I think last week. There were so many lessons learned with the Angora fire. I mean, I think
so, yeah.
I think even like I didn't go to any classes, but just in talking and with the community, I know
think
one of
so.
the things that they talked about was people that had their wood piles stacked up next to their house underneath their
Right.
deck. That was one of the things. Talk about a few of the other obvious and then maybe even less obvious scenarios around the house.
Well, like you said, any fuels next to the house. So if they have plants that are touching the house, bushes, that kind of stuff, it carries fire right into there.
Right,
Shut any openings. So even if you have woodpecker holes or you have nests, a nest makes a nice catchment for an ember, and an ember can fly in a firestorm.
Yeah.
A firebrand will land in that and then start a fire. So it's like kindling right there underneath your eaves or whatever. And of course, like I said, any holes in your siding, you want to make sure that they're closed, including just the screens, the regular vents. When you build a house, you have to vent it. So
Right.
and
And
a lot
with
of
new
people have
homes,
openings.
this is done. I mean, this is part of
Correct, it is
code,
done.
but it's
older
these
homes,
older
or
homes,
the
yeah.
existing homes, I should say, they don't even have to be that old. Existing homes, they're not screened very well, and so you want to make sure that they're screened. There's a lot of products out there, so you need to find out what you have. Even now we're not in this season, but people with wood burning stoves and stuff, you want to make sure and screen those as well, because
Right.
that's a problem. And so firewood next to the house, getting brush away from your house. We want you to zone out.
How about the pine needle thing? Because it seems like I've seen that go back and forth. There was a point where they said, get all the pine needles away from your house, and then one of these other agencies came in and said, you got to have a few pine needles to get the water so it doesn't get in the lake, and burn your house down as a result.
I think that's reversed now again.
So where are we at now?
Now you want to remove them.
Yeah,
You can
wanna-
remove
yeah,
the
house,
yep,
yes.
yep.
Yeah.
In the
Is it
spring,
within 5 feet?
you want to definitely within 5 feet. There's nothing combustible within 5 feet. You can rake your pine needles to bare soil 30 feet from your structure.
Okay.
So 30 feet is the lean, clean, and green area where you don't want anything that's combustible or
Lean,
don't care
green,
fire.
and clean. Okay,
Yep,
I hadn't heard
yep.
that one. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So you definitely want that, and then from there you're going to want to make sure your fuels, you don't have ladder fuels or what they're called, where you have brush right underneath the tree, and so the fire would climb.
Right.
Right.
I
And
was going
that's
to
something
mention
you
that
don't
if you
wanna
have any low-hanging limbs that
Yeah.
are over your
Yeah.
house, you should trim those.
Trim it 10 feet
Remove
to
those.
clearance at least.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I've seen limbs that hang right over a house.
Yeah, and even trees right next to
you
the
need
house. I know
to-
we had a house
Right.
in North Shore. We took down some trees that were right up next to it,
Right.
and the local fire service came through and said, and they were big trees. They said, sure, cut that thing
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
We got plenty of trees. That one's endangering your home.
And that's a good point, Todd, is if people have questions about that, to call the Forest Service, call one of your local fire protection districts.
Yeah.
There's Eric's district, Tahoe, Douglas on the East Shore. There's also Lake Valley out in Myers that covers a wide area of the
Are
south.
you seriously going to try and
of the
name all the
south
fire
end.
districts? 'Cause there are so many around
I know,
this lake.
I know.
Well,
Go to
yes,
Living with Fire.
We can name them
Because
for you.
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
testament, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so many
It's-
different counties and agencies.
Yeah, there's one on North Shore, there's
Yeah.
one on West
I
Shore.
know, in
so
every county
if you
in
have
the
questions,
States.
just give them a call.
Yeah, so good.
And we'll come out and help you. That's
Yeah.
our partnership.
Yeah.
We
No,
work
you
with
guys, I know
so-
locally, have just done a great job.
and we're excited to have a homeowner that wants to participate
Yeah.
and get involved. And
Yeah.
and like you said, it's the pine needles, it's all these things. We can look at things. We look at the house with a fresh set of eyes and say, this is where you're at risk, and it's very helpful.
Really important. It's being part of the community here.
Yeah.
The whole community needs to work together, because if your neighbor's house is a mess, and fire happens,
Totally.
you know, it's
Yeah,
gonna,
you're like, his house is going to catch on fire.
Right.
His house is
Right.
a ladder fuel to my house.
exactly.
Hey, well,
Exactly.
keep
So-
up the great work. It's good. I think you guys did a really good job the last 2 weeks getting in here, making
Thank you.
people more aware, and I think a whole week of awareness.
It's been great.
Hopefully it lasts for
Don't
the
forget,
the
we have
entire-
another webinar today at
Okay.
noon. It's fire risk reduction. It's put on by the Forest Service today. We're going to talk about fire prevention and all that stuff.
And they've also been recorded, so if you've missed some that you wanted to see, you can log on and you can watch the older versions
Yes.
and get that information.
Okay.
Good information.
Keep up
Thank
the
you.
good work.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having
U.S.
us.
Forest
We
Service
appreciate
and
it.
Tahoe Douglas Fire Department. Thanks for being here.
Thank
We'll
you.
take a quick break and come back with the last half hour of Tahoe today.
Amela's Pilates is Lake Tahoe's only fully equipped certified Stop Pilates